You probably don't question whether you have the right to a healthy environment, to breathe clean air, drink clean water, to have productive soil that grows the food you eat. But you'll be surprised to know this is not actually your legal right, not in Canada.
Tonight's event also mirror a joint initiative by the David Suzuki Foundation, Ecojustice, who have committed to working together to ensure that Canada enshrines the right to a healthy environment.
Just so that we're all on the same page about what the right to a healthy environment means, it has two aspects. It has a substantive aspect, which means we all have the right to breathe clean air, drink safe water, live in a non-toxic environment, and enjoy the benefits of healthy ecosystems. And it has a procedural aspect, which means access to environmental information, participation in decision-making, and access to justice when our rights are being threatened or being violated. As a South African judge once wrote, a constitution is like a mirror of a nation's soul. And so for Canada to not have the right to a healthy environment in our constitution is more than just a mere oversight. It's a glaring omission that goes to the heart of who we are as a people. What's important to me as an environmental activist first and a lawyer second is, do these provisions make a difference? Or are they just what James Madison called parchment barriers or paper tigers? Or does the right to a healthy environment, if it's in your constitution, have the potential to transform a society into a greener, cleaner nation? And what you get is 177 out of 193 UN nations. Canada is in a very small group of nations that doesn't recognize this fundamental human right. And so it was this body of research that inspired me to move on and write a book about Canada and what the right to a healthy environment could do in Canada, because our Constitution doesn't even include the word environment. Our Charter of Rights and Freedoms does not recognize our right to live in a healthy environment. And I want to give you 5 compelling reasons why that needs to change. First of all, as many of you will already know, Canada's environmental record is at the bottom of the pack. The second reason is that our poor environmental record is having impacts on human lives. The World Health Organization estimates that 30,000 premature deaths in Canada each year are attributable in whole or in part to environmental risk factors. The third reason is that our Constitution, by not talking about the environment, has created a real problem of uncertainty about whose job it is to protect it. The fourth reason is that Canada has 3 founding legal traditions. We have the French civil law, the English common law, and we have a body of Indigenous law. And this magisterial work by Professor John Boros talks about the Indigenous Constitution of Canada, which includes as a fundamental cornerstone environmental rights and responsibilities and the rights of nature. Whether it's the Haida on the west coast, the Anishinaabe in central Canada, or the Mi'kmaq on the east coast, all of these First Nations believe that there are both environmental rights and responsibilities. And the fifth reason why we need to change our Constitution is because Canadians deeply cherish the environment. We're proud of our great Canadian landscape. I mean, you only have to look at Molson beer commercials to know this is great. But the David Suzuki Foundation has done polling, and over 90% of Canadians believe that the right to a healthy environment should be recognized by governments. And I'm not saying that the constitutional right to a healthy environment is a magic wand. It's not. But it is capable of leading to the kind of transformative and systemic change that we need for Canada to make sustainability a genuine priority, and so that Canada can become a cleaner, greener, healthier, wealthier, and happier nation in the future. Fancy terminology aside, what it means is that today's environmental laws and policies and standards represent a baseline which can never be lowered because of their constitutional protection. And so the legislation that was brought in the spring, Bill C-38, that omnibus bill, it would have been unconstitutional from the get-go in Canada. And that's where we need to get. We can't afford to have laws that move forward for a few years, move backwards, move forwards, move backwards. We have to stop that side of the pendulum swing. And a constitutional right to a healthy environment could be a powerful tool in ensuring that the kind of rollbacks we're seeing today never happen again.